Our celebrant today also understands what it means when it is said, remain patient and give all your respect to our beloved seniors. They have earned their dignity through their lifetime. Let's give a round of applause for our celebrant one more time. And who says music is not the food of the soul? And because we have music today, and we are a nation of very celebrated musicians, singers, and performers across the world, our children are breaking new grounds, and they're delivering from coast to coast across the world. It's time for us now to take salute to excellence in songs, hymns, and anthems by the Festival of Praise Choir and Orchestra. We do this in celebration. If they are ready, so are we. This is a skill set that is not given to everyone. Some people are able to speak well, some people are able to sing well, and some people are able to dance well. We don't all have the same skills, and this collection of young men and women will delight us in songs, hymns, and anthems. By the Festival of Praise Choir, let's encourage them as they make their way to the stage. Thank you very much. anthems by the Festival of Praise Choir and Orchestra. Another round of applause for them for doing such a great job and for managing their time as best as they can. Your Excellencies, I would like to quickly recognize a woman very much after my heart, whose job very early on is to be a diplomat. And subsequently, she went on to run the Ministry of Women Affairs in Nigeria. Help me welcome Ambassador Judith Sefiata, former Minister for Women Affairs, who is 91 years old. Your Excellency, welcome. It's good to see you, ma'am. And as they say in my mother's place, Nyase Abo. Welcome, ma'am. Welcome. We also have former Minister of Environment, Her Excellency, Distinguished Senator Helen Eswene, who is in the house with us. I see you, ma'am. Welcome. Good to see you. We also have guests who are here, Apostle Alfred T.B. Williams and Reverend Mrs. Onmaya Williams from the United Kingdom. They are our guests here. We welcome you. Let's salute them. Please clap for them. Reverend Dr. and Pastor Mrs. Moses Siola, we thank you for coming. Thank you very much indeed. Andy has the next item on the agenda. Andy.
Thank you very much, Your Excellencies. Standing by the already established protocol, I have the very rare privilege of having to introduce our guest lecturer today. Our guest lecturer today is a man that needs really no introduction because he's traversed the length and breadth of Africa and the world, but of course has also won laurels and encomiums, not only for himself, but to the entire continent of Africa. I introduce to you our guest lecturer, Dr. Akinwumi A. Adesina, President, African Development Bank Group. But just as he makes his way here, I'd just like that you stand where you are briefly, because in a part of the country where I'm from, when we introduce guest lecturers, we ask them to just rise for a brief moment. And I'd like to just quickly say that he's often described as Africa's optimist in chief. African Development Bank Group President Dr. Akinwumi Adesina is widely lauded for his visionary leadership and passion for Africa's transformation. Formerly the Nigerian Agriculture Minister, Dr. Adesina was elected President of the African Development Bank Group on May 28, 2015. He was unanimously re-elected for a second term of 5-year term on August 27, 2020. Dr. Adesina graduated with a bachelor's degree in agricultural economics, first-class honors from the prestigious University of Ife, now Obafemi Awolowo University, Nigeria, in 1981. Dr. Adesina holds a master's degree in 1985 and a PhD in agricultural economics 1988 from Purdue University, United States of America, where he won the Outstanding PhD Thesis Award for that year. I thought you were going to give him a round of applause. Dr. Adesina was the prestigious Rockefeller Foundation Social Science Fellowship winner in 1988, which launched him into his international career. A bold reformer, a Minister of Agriculture in Nigeria from 2011 to 2015, Dr. Adesina turned the agricultural sector of Nigeria around within 4 years. Under his tenure, Nigeria ended 40 years of corruption in the fertilizer sector by developing and implementing an innovative electronic wallet system which directly provides farmers with subsidized farm inputs at scale using their mobile phones. Within the first 4 years of its launch, this electronic wallet system reached 15 million farmers, dramatically transforming their lives. With Dr. Adesina at the helm, the African Development Bank Group achieved the highest capital increase since its establishment in 1964, when on the 31st of October 2019, shareholders from 80 member countries raised the general capital from $93 billion to a historic $208 billion. The African Development Bank Group responded boldly and swiftly to the COVID-19 pandemic. On 3rd of April 2020, the premier development finance institution launched a landmark $3 billion COVID-19 social bond, followed by a crisis response facility of $10 billion. Dr. Adeshina has been recognized with numerous awards. On 19th October 2017, the President was conferred with the World Food Prize, also known as the Nobel Prize for Agriculture. On 29th, if you intend to make that a clap, can we make it a clap for him, please? Thank you so very much. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, on February 2020, he was named African of the Year 2019 by 1 million readers of the Africa Leadership magazine. On 14th December 2020, the Academy of Public Health, the flagship body of West African Institute of Public Health, announced Dr. Adeshina as one of the winners of its 2020 Distinguished Fellowship Award for his successful efforts in helping Africa to curb the impact of the coronavirus pandemic. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, this is an abridged version of his very intimidating citation. On 2nd February 2022, the President of the African Development Bank Group was conferred an honorary doctorate by the Federal University of Technology here in Nigeria in recognition of his global leadership in agriculture, food security, development finance, and good governance. He is happily married with very lovely, goal-setting children. Please join me in welcoming a very distinguished lecturer for the day. Let's welcome Dr. Akinwumi A. Adeshina, President, African Development Bank Group. And this auspicious occasion, that apples can come even louder than that for you. Our distinguished guest lecturer, sir.
Thank you very much, MC, for those generous words. Your Excellency, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, represented by Senator George Akume, CEO and Secretary to the Federal Government of the Federation. Your Excellency, Papa General Yakubu Gowon, GCFR, former Head of State of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and the celebrant today. Your Excellency, the Field Marshal, Mrs. Victoria Gowon, former First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Your Excellency, President Baba Olusegun Obasanjo, GCFR, former President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Your Excellency, Architect Namadi Sambo, who was my boss, GCON, former Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. His Excellency, the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Dr. Mohammed Saad Abubakar III, CFR Chairman of the lecture. And I can tell you, sir, that you are doing an incredible job as the chair, and I think that you use your authorities very, very well, and in fact, you have full diplomatic cover and immunity for all the actions that you've taken. Your Excellency Omar Aliou Touré, President of the ECOWAS Commission, thanks for having us, my brother, at your office here. Your Excellency, Executive Governors, Governor Bala Ahmed, my dear brother, we serve together in the government, and other executive governors here and former governors, the former President of the Senate, Bola Saraki, distinguished senators, honorable members of the National Assembly, past and present, honorable ministers, present and past. I see a lot of my colleagues also here today. Our royal fathers, our spiritual fathers, Professor Jerry Ghana, Chairman of the National Planning Committee for the events commemorating the 90th birthday of His Excellency General Yakubu Gowon. And Professor, you spoke like a pastor, and I was really waiting for you to collect the offering at the end of what you said. Maybe you'll do that later on. Eminent guests,
okay, no problem.
distinguished ladies and gentlemen, of course, my very beautiful wife, Grace, Yemisi, is here with me. And I can't do anything without her, so...
I can change this your shirt.
Baba gave her, actually, Baba says that all of my achievements in life, I deserve 45, and he gives her 55. So he always says, she's Yemisi 55, I'm acting 45, but maybe today you give me 46, sir. And the amazing National Youth Corpus. Yes, Corpus. Your father is celebrating today, so you are all excited.
Hold it.
It's a great honor to have been asked by His Excellency General Yakubu Gowon and Mrs. Gowon, and invited by the eminent members of the National Planning Committee to deliver the keynote lecture today. I am filled with a very deep sense of appreciation given the significance of this august occasion. And I'm sincerely humbled by the privilege of being here to celebrate along with friends, families, and fraternal associates from far and wide the 90th birthday of one of Nigeria's greatest statesmen, a revered leader, a father of the nation, His Excellency General Yakubu Gowon. I wish to congratulate His Excellency on this epoch-making 90th birthday. I would also like to extend my congratulations to your ever-beautiful, elegant, poised, wise, never-aging wife, Mommy Victoria Gowon. You're as beautiful as when he married you, actually. And to your dear family that is here with you. General, you remain the youngest person ever to become the head of state of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. At the incredibly young age of 31, responsibility for the affairs of this great nation were thrust upon your shoulders. You married your sweetheart, the radiantly beautiful Victoria Hansatu Zachary. At the age of 34, you were. She was 23. And what a day it was. The image of both of you walking resplendently down the aisle of the Christ Church Cathedral, Lagos, is still etched in the minds of those of us old enough to remember. Permit me to go down the memory lane, General Gowon. And if I might, sir, I think I am a bloody civilian, so I can still do this. My favorite image of you is riding in the royal carriage beside the British monarch, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, during a state visit to the United Kingdom. As you waved to an adoring crowd with your impeccably white gloves, it was an unprecedented reception, and one reserved for exceptional global leaders of that era. The news and the images went viral globally, even though digital and social media did not exist at that time. I knew then that Nigeria was destined for global greatness. It is extremely hard to believe that the young and incredibly handsome military officer with a thin mustache, in fact, General, I am to tell you, sir, I actually started wearing a mustache just because of you. And head of state and commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is now 90 years old. Along with all the well-wishers here today and many joining around the world, I salute you, General. Hearty congratulations once again. You are an exemplary Nigerian and African leader. As head of state, your leadership was marked by several firsts. Your visionary leadership led to the creation of the Economic Commission of West African State ECOWAS, where we are today, bringing together all 16 countries in the region for economic and political cooperation. you created the National Youth Service Corps, the NYSC. That's right. The only policy decision in the history of Nigeria that has endured all governments, a pointer to your remarkable vision and confidence in the youth and Nigeria's unity. I would like the Nigerian NYSC that are there, please rise up and take your cap off and salute the general.
You are a disappointment.
Thank you. All right. Good, thank you very much. Thank you. As a recognition of the beauty and richness of our cultural diversity, and ahead of the first ever Festival of Arts and Culture, FESTAC, you commence the construction of the National Theatre, now named by His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the Wole Soyinka Center for Culture and Creative Arts. Your fingerprints are still seen in countless lasting infrastructure developments across Nigeria. I can keep listing your endless achievements. The bottom line is that leaders are not to be emulated. Leaders are to be emulated. General Gowon, you are to be emulated. Emulated for your candor and nationalistic fervor. Emulated for your humility and ability to work with everyone. Emulated for your never-ending drive to unify the country. Emulated for your never-failing Nigeria praise. Emulated for always having Nigeria in your heart. The acronym for your name says it all. Go on with one Nigeria. When General Gowon was told he had been overthrown in a military coup while attending an OAU summit in Kampala, Uganda, he was amazingly calm and collected. He was the embodiment of serene demeanor he was known for as he walked briskly out of the hall. When asked by the reporters what was next, he said in a very few words one of his standout statements of all time: "Take care of Nigeria for me." What a profound statement to make at the lowest point of one's career. It was crystal clear, even back then, that General Yakubu Gowon has transcended self to focus on others. Nigeria was on his mind and in his heart. The young army officer with the white gloves had grown to become a leader for Nigerians of all ages, a father of the nation. Prior to independence in 1960, our nation's builders had a dream of a Nigeria that will be the shining light of Africa, and indeed the black race. As the Union Jack flag was lowered, and the green, white, green flag of the newly born nation Nigeria was raised on October 1st, 1960, the whole world knew that the largest black nation on earth was making its debut. As Nigerians, we are often preoccupied with our differences and tend to think of the geographical delineations of our land. One question we do not ask ourselves enough is, what are we supposed to be? Certainly, Nigeria, 64 years after independence, should not be a developing country. Nigeria should be a developed nation.
Can you hear me?
As president of the African Development Bank, as I travel around Africa, one issue that often marks conversations is, when will Nigeria develop? I have listened to several leaders tell me that the rise of Africa depends on the rise of Nigeria. As the largest black nation on earth, we carry within us the hopes and aspirations of our black people in the world. Yearnings that this nation will become a beacon in the world and an inspiration that will elevate the whole continent of Africa. It is therefore time that we start thinking of Nigeria not in terms of what or where we currently are or how we currently see ourselves, but rather in terms of the responsibility of history that we must lift all of Africa.
Right, a little bit to center your
When the Gulf region was to develop, it took Saudi Arabia to set the pace. And today, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, and Kuwait, each of those nations have risen to become global giants. When Europe had to develop, it needed Germany, the United Kingdom, and France to spur the growth across the continent. When Asia had to develop, it took China, Japan, and South Korea to spark even wider growth from Singapore to India, Malaysia, and Indonesia. For Africa to develop, it needs Nigeria to develop faster. History beckons on Nigeria, and we cannot disappoint. So I would like to speak to you today about building a global Nigeria. From the onset, I want to be very clear that I'm not here to criticize any government, past or present, but rather as a citizen and also as somebody passionate about this land and the continent, to reflect on what we must do collectively to be all that we can be in the Global Committee of Nations, a global Nigeria. Yes, I dream of a better tomorrow for Nigeria. I refuse to believe that Nigeria will falter or fail. I believe that Nigeria will overcome, rise, flourish, and shine. I believe that Nigeria shall be all that it is meant to be. It was Martin Luther King who said, "History has thrust upon me a responsibility which I cannot turn away." Yes, history has thrust on Nigeria a responsibility it cannot turn away. Nigeria must become a global powerhouse. That is our responsibility. A global Nigeria must start with a poverty-free Nigeria. Today, poverty is extremely pervasive in Nigeria. The National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, in 2022 estimated that 63% of persons living within Nigeria, that's 133 million people at the time, are multidimensionally poor. It also states that over half of the population of Nigeria cook with dung, charcoal, wood, rather than cleaner energy. High deprivations are also apparent nationally in sanitation, healthcare, food security, and housing. Poverty is particularly extreme in rural areas where millions of people have been forgotten and abandoned. The gravity of the situation is even worse in northern Nigeria. The NBS report states further, and I quote, that multidimensional poverty is higher in rural areas where 72% of the people are poor, compared to 42% of people in the urban areas. And as we speak today, 65% of the poor, that's 86 million people, live in northern Nigeria, while 35%, nearly 47 million, live in the south. The incidence of multidimensional poverty ranges from a low of 27% in Ondo to a high of 91% in Sokoto. These extremely high levels of poverty have fueled criminality, banditry, kidnappings, and armed robbery. A recent survey of the crime economy in Nigeria shows that the Northwest, Northeast, and North Central have been devastated, with kidnappings becoming a default economy.
You've been watching the live broadcast of the public lecture marking the 90th birthday of Nigeria.